Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the
Good morning, all. He said as everyone got up and greeted him, while Chloe wiped her eyes at Wine as she gestured him to greet that professor is here. While Wine rolled her eyes and turned her face other side as Chloe looks at her Don, while Jungkook looked at everyone, and it seems he is searching for a particular person. And when he spotted her, he sighed, shaking his head. Okay, sit, he said, and everyone takes their seat. And Chloe nudged her elbow to Anne, and she looks annoyed at her. What, Chloe? She said, but her voice reaches to Jungkook as he looks at her. Could you please sit straight, Miss Wine? We are in class. He said, and Wine rolled her eyes, sitting straight. And Chloe couldn't process what's wrong with her. What's wrong with you? She said, and Wine looks at her annoyed. Everything is wrong with me. Frustration was clearly visible in her voice, and Chloe gave her a look. She squeezed her shoulder, giving her a side hug, and looked at her, softening her gaze. And she made puffy face, and Chloe smiled at her. Sorry, she said, and Chloe smiled. It's okay. I love you, she said, and she chuckled slightly. I love you too, babe. She said, pinching her cheeks when Jungkook cleared the throat. You both please focus on class. He said, and smiled at her. She murmured, as Chloe chuckled slightly and Jungkook scrunched his eyes as it was audible to him. Can you say a little loudly, Miss Ryan? While she looked away, closing her eyes. Okay. Is everyone completed their assignment? He asked, and the class responded. Yes, Professor Jim, he said, and Jungkook gave a small smile and nodded, looking at everyone. While Ryan glanced at him. She is almost digging holes in him. And Chloe was looking at Ryan and she speaks. Have you completed your assignment? She asked and Ryan looked at her blankly. Do you think I will do the assignment of this rude professor? Chloe looked at her amazed. He will fail you in internals, she said and Ryan shrugged. Let him do, I don't care. She said and she looked at her unbelievable while Jungkook eyed on her. I will be giving test result as well today. He said, glancing at Ryan while Ryan glared at him, clenching her face. He already planned to fail me. She murmured, and Chloe stared at Professor John and Ryan that they are fighting in gesture. Are you perhaps having Cold War with Professor John? She asked, while Ryan swiftly shifted her gaze at her. Of course, I am his least favorite student. What do you expect? She said, and Chloe sighed. I don't think he has any personal grudges with you. You are behaving like this for no reason, she said, shrugging when Ryan dad glared at her. And she smiled nervously. I mean, shut up. She cuts her off and Chloe hugged. Are you perhaps on your period? She asked, sighing. Yes, secondly, she replied, glaring at her straight. And Chloe forked her cheeks. Okay, I'm not speaking today. Ryan nodded like a robot. Yup, better not. She said and Chloe put finger on her lips. Ryan and Chloe, you guys are disturbing the class a lot. I will throw you out both. He said without looking at them and Ryan glared at him. Yes, could you please keep quiet? Ryan dipped pen on her notebook when Celine speaks and Chloe corrected her thought while scratching her back. I want to murder both of you. Yemen is serious. I wish they end up together. Jungkook lowered his thought a little loudly, glaring at Ryan and Ryan looked away. Irritating people of my life, she murmured while Chloe straightened her back looking at Professor Jan, who is glaring at Ryan. Don't you think you are speaking a lot today? Professor John will throw you out. While scratching her back, looking at Shankar. I want to attend Professor Park's lecture. I wish this lecture ends quickly, she murmured and Jungkook slammed the table. Miss Ryan, you are in detention for today after lecture. He speaks slowly while Ryan smoked. Wait, what? She went, but sir, I have a lecture after your lecture. She instantly speak and Jungkook tilted his head. I will talk to Professor Park. You don't need to worry. And anyway, he won't teach. He will be taking revision. And you're already doing great in economics. I have seen your test paper. You need to focus on mathematics. She looked at him unbelievable. While Chloe controlled her laugh. Stalker. He's checking other results. She murmured. Because maths is the only subject you have failed, Miss Ryan. While Ryan looked at him speechless because she knows she didn't speak too loud. How the hell he heard that? Chloe wanted to die out of laughing. And owl ears he has. She murmured and Jungkook instantly hummed while taking out papers. Yes, I have heard that too. He replied and Ryan gave up already. And Chloe couldn't control her laugh while others laughed. Jungkook poked his cheeks to control his smile. The only person who was not laughing was Celine and Ryan. Ryan was glaring at Jungkook while Celine looking at Jungkook, who is low-key smiling, and she glanced at Ryan. What's so funny in that? She murmured. Ryan instantly responded exactly. She agreed while Jungkook raised rose and Chloe dust. Chloe looked at Ryan, surprised that she is agreeing to her enemy, and Jungkook corrected his thought. Okay, quiet everyone. I'm calling everyone by their roll call. Take your test sheet and submit the assignment, he said in class response. Meanwhile, leaned back sighing and she shook her head as she feels so annoyed for no reason and Chloe eyed on her. Is something cooking between you two? Ryan looked at her tiredly. Oh, she whispered. Of course, Professor John, she said and Ryan rolled her eyes. Of course, pretending as if you don't know anything. I wish it was Professor Park that is. Miss Ryan, he called, grabbing her attention, and Ryan shut her eyes tightly in frustration. Roll number 7. Is your roll call right? He said coldly but a bit sarcastically. And he called you many times. What is this behavior? She spoke. Celine, Ryan got up, slamming the table and Jungkook gave shifts. Is it necessary you to speak? She spoke frustratedly and Jungkook shut his eyes. Of course, it's my duty to maintain class decorum, and in case you forgot, I am class president. Ryan rolled her eyes. Class president, my foot. Jungkook looked at Ryan then. So mannerless of you. This is how you talk in front of Professor, she said, and Jungkook Ryan glared at her. Enough of you both. At least respect my presence, he spoke coldly. Past Professor Jim, that's what I'm doing, but she is showing her upbringing. Jungkook glared at Celine. Enough. Who the hell are you to question my upbringing, huh? He said aloudly and initially shifted his gaze to Ryan as he is about to speak, but she cuts him off again. He speaks and she glared at him as somehow she controlled herself not to burst out. Keep quiet and come here. He speaks and she shut her eyes. And Celine, please don't speak when I'm talking, he said, and Celine looked down. Okay, sorry, Professor John, she said and Ryan greeted her. Cheap tactics she uses. She murmured and Jungkook looked at Ryan. And how many times I have to call you Ryan? Should I send you any special invitation? He sarcastically said and Ryan walked as Celine was walking back and they both glared at each other. While Ryan looked at her super furious as she is about to go to her seat, but Ryan didn't wait her to clear the way and she walked bumping in her shoulder and didn't even look back while Jungkook widened his eyes. As he saw Celine is almost fall and Jungkook instantly moved in action. Celine sat on stairs and she is about to yell at Ryan, but when she spotted Jungkook coming, she instantly started crying. While Ryan looked back at her, her body stiffened for a while. When she spotted Jungkook came and she knelt down to her, she rolled her eyes. Are you okay, Celine? He asked and Ryan shook her head in disbelief. No, it's hurting. So, she said, holding her ankle. Again drama, he murmured. So it's hurting too much. she said, crying, and Jungkook looked at her a little bit. Professor John, can you please massage her ankle? Maybe she might feel okay. She said sarcastically, and Jungkook that glared at her. What's wrong with her? She murmured, and Jungkook got up, looking at her mad. Do you have any manners, swine? That how you should talk to elders or not, huh? Have you forgot the difference between elders and younger? He angrily burst out, while she maintained a daring eye contact with him. First, she pushed her intentionally, now behaving rash. This is how you behave instead of helping her or asking if she alright or not. You're behaving like this? What's wrong with you? He angrily said, while Wine just listened him, breathing heavy as she made face. She ran towards her desk, while Jungkook just shifted his gaze with her moving figure. As she took out pain relief spray and come back to Celine, she knelt down and applied spray on her ankle while Celine just stared at her and Wine was on verge of crying. I didn't ask you to do that. He spoke while Wine ignored him. While Wine is about to rub her ankle, but Jungkook held her palm as she closed her eyes and Celine's face. She said and her friends helped her to stand and she looked at her. While Wine jerked Jungkook's heavily as he shifted his gaze to Celine. If it's hurting you so much, you can go to medical room, Celine. He speaks coldly. But Professor John, that's alright. She said and Wine put spray on her bed, making sound while he looked at. You can keep this and I'm sorry. She speaks coldly, trying hard to hide her tears, which is in her eyes, and Celine just stared at her. Jungkook sighed. If everything is alright, then Wine come with your assignment and take your test sheet. He said, climbing down, going back to his desk, while Wine walked down, lowering her head. As she looked at her coldly, extended her sheet. And if he speaks coldly while she didn't look at him. Assignment? He asked. I haven't done. She replied coldly, and Jungkook looked at her unbelievable, as he was already frustrated with her behavior. Economics won't make you solely pass mine. Be serious. What are you up to? Why you always take my class it for granted? He said a bit angrily, and Wine looked up with her shimmering eyes. Because I don't like you. She whispered to him, and his brows tightened. I don't like your subject, she said, and took her test sheet and ran back to her seat, while he just stared at her moving figure. She is the most stubborn girl he has ever seen, and he wondered himself that how to deal with her. Because she never focused on his class, always scored low in his subjects as he compared her marks to other subjects. And she has good grades in other subjects except his, and he sighed as he continued his work distributing sheets to other students, while Ryan head down in rest of the class. His lecture got over as everyone started to leave. His Ryan kept sitting on her seat as Chloe looked at her, taken back. Aren't you coming? She asked. Ryan looks up tiredly. Detention. She speaks tiredly and Chloe bit her lips. Should I talk to Professor John? She asked and Ryan shook her head. No, it's alright. You can go. She said, yawning, and Chloe sighed and nodded as she walked on. Slowly, everyone left the room except few students and Jungkook and Ryan. Few students talking to Jungkook, and in between glancing at Ryan, who is resting on her head on desk. Ryan, he called her as she looks up tiredly. You can go. I talk to you later. He said on one side. She murmured. As she took her bag, she walked down and Jungkook was looking at her, and without any goodbye or greet, she left the classroom without even glancing. Jungkook sighed as he collected the papers. Can you take this to my office? He asked one of his students. Thank you. As he took his things and walked out of the classroom. Professor Park, he spoke as he looked at him and smiled. Oh, Professor John, come. What brings you here? He said while Jungkook is glancing in between the class as they greeted him. Yeah, good afternoon. Sir, please. He said, giving small smile as he shifted his gaze back to Professor Park. Um, Actually, I just came because there is some work going in my office and I have to check these. He said, showing bundle of papers and Professor Park noted. Oh, yeah, this classroom are busy. You can continue your lecture, I won't disturb. He said, smiling nervously. That's completely fine. Please sit. He said, moving his things, and Jungkook smiled. Thank you. He said, and Professor Park nodded as Jungkook takes seat, being anxious. His curious eyes scanned the whole classroom, searching for a particular figure. When he spotted her friend, but she was not there, and he bit his lips. Am I blind, or she's not here? He murmured. While Professor Park continued with lecture, and he noticed everything carefully. There's nothing he's doing. I do teach better than him, he mumbled to himself, while Chloe was observing Jungkook, who is observing so carefully as if he's taking lessons. When she took out her phone sneakingly and she records quietly and sent her. And he is about to finish while Jungkook thought that how can she not find her? Yes, maybe the range of the class is wide. And he shot that Wine won't miss his favorite professor's class. But when her roll called out, he looked curiously in the class and no one responded when Chloe speaks. She's absent, sir. She said in Jungkook frowned. Is he dreaming or what? Oh, quite surprised. That's why I thought why so silence in the class today. She always makes class fun and interactive. He said in Jungkook tightening his grip on. Jungkook was looking for books in the library while his mind was in his thoughts. And there are thousands of thoughts in his mind running in the silence of the library as there are very few people in library. It's time to college over, so some of them are leaving. It's so quiet that the silence is also eating him, and he doesn't know what he is even searching for. And he questions himself, why are you so distracted, man? Being frustrated, his hand went on a book as he tried to take it out. At the same time, other person also pulled as he frowned, and he tried to pull but the grip from other side didn't loosen. And he took out the other book to see who is other side as he peeked and recognized instantly by her eyes where it had twitched a little angrily. Took it first. She spoke, and when Jungkook loosened the grip and she took the book. Suddenly his thoughts stopped chasing him for a while, just looking at her still upset gaze who is still same as he left. And when she walked with saying, and Jungkook walked other side and blocked her way and she groaned. Where were you? He asked and I didn't look at him and remained silent. Her focus was on the book and she ignored his existence like that there is no one and stared to read the book, leaning to shelf that's enough for him. As he snatched the book from her hand and she finally looked at him being mad. What's wrong with you, Professor John? She said, being annoyed, and Jungkook just stared at her. Give me my book back. She said, and Jungkook's brows straightened as he put the book on top of the shelf, making her mouth hang open. She looked at him, mad, and it's enough for him when Jungkook shifted his gaze back to her. What is wrong with you? She said loudly while Jungkook didn't even blink. Why you can't leave me alone for a while? She angrily said. And Jungkook just listened. What you want from me? She said and she held her head. Why you don't like me? He finally speaks and she shifts his gaze back to him as she straightened her back. You better know the answer. She replied as she tried to walk but he pulled her back. He pulled her closer as her brows straightened and her heart dropped for a while seeing him this close as he was looking in her eyes directly. That's not the answer to my question. He speaks in husky voice. Leave me, please, she said, struggling. Jungkook pulled her more closer instead, and her heart is beating against her chest like a hammer. Why you compared me to Professor Park? Why you said it would be good if he was at my place? He whispered in husky voice while she tightened her jaw. His grip is way more tighter. Because he's better than you in every aspect. He is. Before she could complete, he pressed his lips on hers, making her leave at a shock. As he kissed her like there is no tomorrow, hugging her, while Vine struggled and she can't process, so he pinned against her the bookshelf, making books fall to the floor. Without caring anything, even she tried to push him and make sure she feels him deeper. And after a while, he broke the kiss as he was panting heavily as Swine is out of breath. But there were tears in her eyes, and slowly he realized what he did. Her eyes were red as she thought she then tried to approach her, but she begged. That's why I hate you. I don't like you. You're a bad human being. You're not even a gentleman. She angrily said, wiping her tears, and he closed his eyes. Again, please don't say anything. Saying this, she ran from there. As he ran his finger through his hair, being frustrated and cursing himself as he quickly moved in his direction as she ran. Wine was taking her things while crying, and Jungkook spotted her, and his heart sank. As he is about to walk near her, but she quickly rushed towards exit, and there is no one except her and him. And Jungkook followed her. Fine, listen to me. He called her, but she sprinted towards the door without caring she will fall or hurt herself. Jungkook quickly followed her so that he can match her pace, and when she tried to open the door, that, but it didn't open, and her breast tightened as she tried to open aggressively. Jungkook's face slowed down as she looked back at Jungkook angrily. You did this right, she angrily said, and Jungkook shook his head viciously. No, he responded, and she turned back. As she knocked the door. Hello, is there anyone? We are inside, she called as she banged the door multiple times, and Jungkook sighed in relief. You have to pay penalty if door broke. He spoke and she glared at him. I know it's all your plan, she said, wiping her tears, and Jungkook shook his head. No, he said, and Wine banged again multiple times as she looked back at him. Call someone. Jungkook quickly hid his phone. I left my phone in staff room, he said, and she looked at him mad. How can someone leave their phone? She said angrily. I don't use my phone much. You must have your phone, right? She glared at him. Yes, I do have. I'm not careless, but I don't have college authorities' contacts. And all students must have gone leave by now. She angrily said, and Jungkook made a face. Right, he said as he's about to walk near her, but she instantly shouted, making him spot as his spot and his heart almost popped out. What happened? He said, being worried. Keep distance with me. Don't come near me, she angrily said, and Jungkook put hand on his chest. I almost got heart attack. You could have said this without shouting, he said, acting as if almost got heart attack. That's what you do always. Do anything without warning. I can't trust you. Maintain distance or I will shout like this only. Jungkook rolled his eyes. Try if it works. Your throat will give up, he said, shrugging while her jaw dropped. As he tried to walk near her, but she quickly took out pepper spray. She held the pepper spray in defense and Jungkook gave her a look. I will spray it. Trust me, it burns a lot. There is no other do, she said with desperation. Jungkook shook his head. Do if you're ready to handle blind husband for the rest of your life. If that's okay, then go ahead, he said, a wine squint froze. Husband? Jungkook nodded. Isn't it? Because you're my fiancé. We are going to marry soon. Do you have memory problem too? He said, and her voice straightened. Marry my foot. My sandal won't even marry you. Never in this life. Not in this life, not in any life, she said, holding straight tightly, and Jungkook folded arms across his chest. Oh, really? You couldn't stop the engagement. Not wearing engagement ring doesn't make difference, he said, scoffing. I will run on wedding day, she desperately said, and Jungkook chuckled. Thanks for telling in advance, stupid girl, he mumbled. I will escape, you won't even get to know. Jungkook nodded. Anything else? He asked. I will call Professor Park for help, she said, and his brow straightened. Okay, that's enough, he said in cold voice as he tried to walk near her, but she sprayed the spray covering her nose. It didn't go in his eyes as he was at distance, but the spray made him sneeze non-stop, and she was covering her nose while Jungkook sneezed. Oh, tougher, stupid idiot! You don't know I am allergic to pepper. He somehow speaks, sneezing badly. I want you. While he sneezed back to back, making her flinch. Why you bring Professor back in every topic? Why you always compare him with me? You also compare me with Celine. Did I start behave like you? I compare you in grades and you bring him in relationship. He has nothing to do with our personal life. Wine shut her eyes as she looked at him concerned. You said Celine is better than me. Then why don't you marry her? While Jungkook managed to glare at her but sneezed later. He knows. He said acting. Also you said that I am an headache and could you please shut up for a while? Vine looked at him worried. Professor Jen, are you okay? She asked, worried, while he took support of wall. No, I'm not. I'm going to die. Her heart dropped and she made crying face while he kept sneezing. Professor Jen, don't say that. I don't want to go jail at early age. She said and Jungkook looked at her unbelievable. Selfish girl, still caring about yourself. Can't you see my condition? You didn't care even if I die? She was on panic. No, I mean, what? I won't die like this. I will die after marrying you, making sure you are my widow. Sneezed multiple times. What? Are you mad? What are you saying? As she banged the door. Please open the door. Professor John will die. I don't want to go jail. Junko acted to faint. Crazy girl, how I deal with her rest of my life. She doesn't even care about me, he said, and she continuously banged the door. And Jungkook finally decided to give up on his body as he dropped on the floor, and Vine's eyes widened, seeing like that. Professor John, she said, widening her eyes while he kept sneezing, feeling no energy. As Jungkook is about to say something but stopped when he saw Vine rushing to him, being all worried and panicking as he pretended not. I can't breathe, he said, holding his head when Vine looked at him worried. I'm sorry, Professor John, are you okay? He said, rubbing his head when she also sneezed because of pepper effect and coughed as she covered her nose. It's too bad, she said, coughing, and Jungkook pretended to lose consciousness. I can't, he said, closing his eyes. Professor John, she said, shaking him. Jungkook pretending to be unconscious. What should I do? She said, biting her lips. She looked around and she looked at windows and she got up and rushed to open the windows while Jungkook freaked at her. She was in panic so bad, and he giggled and he quickly shut his eyes when Swine come back to him. Professor John, everything will be alright, she said, cupping his face as she took a book to create some fresh air. As she leaned to his chest as she checked his heartbeat, as Jungkook tightened his jaw tightly and cursed himself, and Wine looked at him being horrified. His heart isn't beating, she said, almost verge of crying, while Jungkook himself got shocked for a while. What? Am I dead already? How can I die from a paper spray? He questioned himself in mind, and Wine tapped his cheeks, panicking and crying. Professor John, you can't die. You can't send me jail like this, she said, crying while Jungkook cried internally. Professor John, you said you will die after marrying me. How can you die like this? Please get up, she said, crying while he wanted to laugh so bad. You can't leave me like this. We are not done yet. This wasn't in my plans. Professor John, please get up, she said, crying. Professor John, she cried, whereas there is no movement in his body, and she quickly take out her phone. Research what to do if a person isn't breathing and heart not beating. Call 119. Jungkook's heart dropped. CPR is a thing, stupid girl. It will take time. I should give CPR. She murmured and Jungkook breathed and relaxed. She quickly put her phone aside as she started to unbutton his shirt and his heart raced. What she is even doing? Did she misunderstood? Does she even know what is CPR? How to give CPR? Cutting his thoughts off when he felt her soft pair of lips on his, and his mind went blank immediately, and his all focus gathered by her in just few seconds as she was crying in between while his heart beating was so fast. And he shut his eyes tightly and she was sobbing. I'm sorry, Professor Jha. Please get up. I promise I won't complain you. Please get up for my sake. I'm just a kid, she murmured while crying. When she again pressed her lips on his, and this time he wrapped his arms around her and pulled her closer, and her eyes widened in shock. You're alive? She whispered against her lips, and he just stared at her when she suddenly started crying, hugging his chest while he cursed himself underneath. So sorry. I'm sorry. He patted her back. It's okay, Ryan. I'm alright. Nothing happened to me. He murmured while she kept crying, which made his heart melt. I promise I won't do it again, she said while sobbing against his chest, and he bit his lips. Nothing happened to me, Ryan. I was pretending. I'm not allergic to pepper. I just wanted to know you care about me or not, he confessed when she stopped crying. She looked up, wiping tears. All this was a drama? She asked, sniffing, and he nodded, feeling guilty, and her brows straightened as she quickly detached herself. And Jungkook sits when his phone slipped from his pocket, and Ryan looked at his phone then him, while Jungkook gulped as he put his phone in his pocket. Ryan got up angrily and Jungkook does too as he knows environment isn't good and when he is about to follow Ryan but stopped as he saw a stick in her hand and he gulped hard while looking at him angrily. Listen, Ryan. You think it's funny? He quickly ran when she ran behind him. It's not funny too. I'll get hurt by that stick, he said, running for his life while Ryan struggled to follow him. How dare you to play with my feelings, she angrily said, and he shook his head. I wasn't. He moved his face other side when she threw something in his direction. Hey, are you crazy? He said, being horrified when she started to throw everything in his direction. Jungkook quickly went down. She's gone mad, he murmured as he took out his phone to call someone. Hello, Kang. Are you there in college? Can you please come here in the library? I got stuck here with this bitch. My life is in danger, he said, panicking. Sean Jungkook, she yelled. Come quickly, he said, and Jungkook got up and looked at Ryan. I'm sorry now, he said, giving up, and Ryan looked at him angrily. You a stupid idiot. Why have to marry you? I will never marry. I will never marry a man like you, she yelled when she threw the ring in his direction, and this time he caught it and breathed in relief. Thank God, he said, hugging the ring. I will never marry you even in your dreams, she yelled, and Jungkook looked at her, straightening his brows. Yes, go ahead. I am also not dying to marry you, he said, correcting his thought, and Ryan's blood boiled. Go and marry your favorite student, Celine. Hope you have a great night and life with her. She angrily said, and Jacob gave her a look. It would be better if you cursed me to die instead, he said, and she stared him for a while, breathing heavily. Then she sat on the chair and started crying, and Jungkook's eyes widened. No, I didn't do anything. Why are you crying? He said. She cried, covering her face while Jungkook rushed to her as he knelt down to her level. Hey, I didn't say anything bad to you. Don't cry like this, he said, trying to touch her, but she jerked his hand. Don't touch me. And Jungkook panicked, looking at her. Wine, please don't cry like this, please. People will misunderstand me that I did anything bad to you, he said softly when he heard door unlocking sound and he looked at Wine. See, Wine, there's someone is here. Please stop crying, he softly said, and The guard walked and he looked at both of them awkwardly. But Jungkook took relief when he saw her brother walking behind him, who is the director of this college. And he looked at Jungkook in question, and Jungkook instantly shook his head and he sighed as he looked at Ryan. Ryan, he called her softly when she wiped her tears and got up as Jungkook does too. She didn't even look at her brother also as she is about to walk, but she looked at Jungkook. I will never marry you. I don't like you, she said in crying voice, and her brother sighed while Jungkook just stared at her. She took her things as her brother and Jungkook just watched her. Then she looked at him again as a tear slid from her eyes. I hate you, she said, and Jungkook closed her ring tightly. Fine. He approached her sighing. I will never marry my mathematics professor, she said loudly while walking, and her brother sighed, and Jungkook just watched her as Sehun looked at Jungkook. Don't take her word seriously, he said, trying to approach Jungkook, and Jungkook slowly shifted his gaze to her brother. Don't force her if she doesn't want to, he calmly said, and Dehun gave him a look. He was starting to. Jungkook. Don't you know her from childhood? How she is? He said, and Jungkook smiled slightly. I know her, that's what I'm saying, he said, and Dehun sighed. Well, that's not in my control. You know it's family decision, I can't help. I can't help her, neither you, he said, sighing. I'm saying because have you ever seen her? She performs good in every subject except mine. I know her mathematics isn't weak, but she does this intentionally. The amount of hate she does to me, he said on the inside. You know, it's her stubbornness. Once you decide to marry her, that's why, he said, and Jungkook looked up. You know why? Because she is still studying. Let her explore the life more. Maybe she gets someone better than me, he said, and Devon shook his head in disbelief. This is the answer itself to your all question. That why she doesn't want to marry you, you know? You could have talked her straight that I don't want to rush things when she is studying instead of denying directly. You know how sensitive she is. She is so possessive about her things. You know that. He said, Jungkook listens in. She misunderstood you. You were good in terms before this, right? Don't you feel like a question what happened suddenly? He said, and Jungkook smiled slightly. Question many times. Question her as well. All what I heard is I don't like you, I don't want to marry you, and see now, I hate you, he said. It's just I don't want to force things on her. I want her to focus on her studies right now. That's it. Young sighed heavily. Is it itself there for you, how it is working? He said, sighing heavily. I will advise one thing that there is no two way that you can escape from this and or my sister. It's just you two have to sort out the things, and it totally depends how you two will sort out. Because you are forbidden for this relationship, even if you want or not, he said while Jungkook listened in. You should work on yourself more, I guess. It's not difficult to deal with her. Just some love and she will melt. I know my sister very well. I guess you know that too, he said. And don't say this now that you don't love her. Things only work in relationship when a man loves more. You should know that, he lastly said. What if she got distracted from her studies? He asked, and Kim Dehan chuckled. Do I need to answer that again? Things once again, he said. Vine wiped her tears and she took out her phone finally as she checked messages now. And her phone filled with messages, and then she opened Chloe's message. When she looked at the video that he has been sitting in Professor Park's lecture, his gaze keeps searching for someone while his gaze continuously moving, scanning whole classroom, and she sat there only closing her eyes. When Jungkook walked as she spotted him, and Jungkook looked at her, and his mood seemed soft as he gasped the air, and he was in thought process that how he should approach her. But when Wine got up as she ran towards him and hugged him, suddenly making him froze at his spot. Wine, I hate you, she murmured, and he sighed as he tried to break the hug, but she tightened the grip, clutching his back tightly. Then Dehun also came out, and he got surprised as Jungkook looked at him, and he smiled and walked, shaking his head. Give my ring back, she said, and she broke the hug, and Jungkook stared at her as he slowly opened his wrist, and she took it. When she is about to wear, may I? He asked nervously, and she gave him a grumpy look as he slowly took the ring from her hand and slid slowly, and the tears slid from her eyes which he wiped. I'm sorry, he whispered, and she just stared at him. Even if you won't tell, if I unintentionally hurted you, then I'm really sorry. He said nervously, and she hugged him again. If you ever compared Celine with me, I will kill you for sure this time, he said as he bit his lip. That's not it. If you ever brought Celine in our talks, I will make sure you both end up together. Jungkook looked at her surprised. Hey, she broke the hug. I mean it, she said, and he stared at her. What about Prophet? The way you felt hearing me discussing other men, I felt 10,000 times more. Did you get that? It's just you're alive right now, she said, and he looked at her very surprised. Anything else you want to hear from me, Professor John? You just messed up with my mood so bad on second day of my periods. Mood swings and then you, she angrily complained, and his eyes softened. Are you on periods? He asked, and she nodded, looking at the side and hugged her. So sorry for messing around. I didn't know. Really sorry, he said softly, and she just removed his hands. That's what your problem is, she said, and he stared at her as he hugged her gently. Sorry, he murmured. I'm not forgiving you, she murmured back, and he bit his lips as she broke down. I want to go home, I'm tired, she said, and he nodded. Okay, let's go, he said, and she looked at him. I'll go with Opa. Jungkook sighed heavily as she was about to walk, but he held her hand. I said I'm dropping you, he said, and she stared at him with stern and stubborn expression. As he tried to walk, but Wine didn't move. When he blew somewhere, she looked back at her, that she is still standing there. Then he walked near as he kissed her forehead, and her eyes softened. Don't be stubborn, come with me, he whispered, and he held her hand again, and she walked with him. He looked at her as she was walking while not looking at him, and he smiled slightly as he looked at her. Do we have a happy ending? Will it work out? His mind questioned as he looked back at her. As she intertwined her arms in his later, he smiled as he rubbed her back gently. It will work out right, Professor John, she murmured, and they looked at each other. Her eyes filled with thousands of questions, and he smiled.
We make these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, chimes forever.